Hi, I'm Learning Game Studios. Today, for a very special Mario Day event, I'm going to be telling you about every single Super Nintendo Mario game that was released. First up on the list, I'm pretty sure anyone who's seen the Super Nintendo knows Super Mario World. This is a side-scroller game that changed the gaming industry forever. For side-scrolling platforms for Mario, it was like a really big advance from the NES to the Super Nintendo. Next on the list we have Super Mario All-Stars, which Super Mario All-Stars was all of the NES games, side-scroller games, New Super Mario Bros., Lost Levels, 2 and 3, all put in one cartridge, but 1 year after they released that, they released Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World. This is an all-in-one cartridge, which is more of a compressed cartridge with Super Mario World, Super Mario All-Stars in it. Also, you can play as Luigi now in the main campaign, Super Mario World. Which usually you can only do that in 2-player, but now you can do it in 1-player. Around that time, a lot of video games didn't exactly have ratings on what age they were, so what they did in response to that, of parents getting angry about it, they made educational games. There's only 2 educational games, and they're okay, but they're not really the greatest. First one is Mario's Missing. Mario's Missing is a game where Luigi has to go around the world and learning about like other places and stuff. The other game is Mario's Time Machine, where you go into a time machine through different timelines, basically. Last on the list is Mario Paint for the Super Nintendo. Mario Paint was a basically like a digital art game. It's very new at the time, and it even came with its own accessory, which will show gameplay a bit later. One thing to note that this isn't the original, but the original had a ball that was basically used. If you've ever seen like the original Atari Centipede, they basically use that same type of design, but used it as a mouse, and it's really expensive. You might see me with it one day, but not today. So, those were all the games that were released for the Super Nintendo of Mario games are released for the Super Nintendo. And I think it's very nice. It isn't much, but honestly, some of those games in there were still remembered. With that, I'm going to try to give a good, more in-depth of each individual game. Super Mario World itself was more of like it was a side-scroller game about like, you could spend your time on it. You can be like, wow, this is a side-scroller game and it's really good. Also, that too, it aged really well. Like, Super Mario World, it aged really well. Being on the Super Nintendo, so if you play it today, you'd be like, wow, this isn't as, like, bad as I actually thought it was. Other games, did not really do well, but, definitely, it was nice to see that, on the Super Mario All-Stars, they redid everything new, 32-bit graphics, which is really cool for seeing backgrounds that were usually just, like, a solid color. The save files, because you couldn't save, and Super Mario Bros. 3 was a really big game at the time, but that's really cool for Super Mario All-Stars. Mario Paint, you could do music, animation, even has its own minigame. Even the title screen of it, when you open it up, has a lot of different types of things you can mess with it, especially with the mouse. The mouse is probably one of the best things you can use in it. There's a bunch of different settings for painting, saving, and also one thing I'll note about Mario Paint, if you played it and you've played Mario Maker, you'll notice that a lot of things from Mario Paint are actually in Mario Maker, like the Sound Frog, the the rewind dog, the save bot, loading screens, all that. And it's kind of cool that they redid that in a new game that's about like making stuff in Mario Maker. So I think it's actually really nice how this game has also basically, I'm pretty sure, I feel like we still would have had Mario Maker, but I really feel like if Mario Maker, Mario Paint wasn't made, Mario Maker wouldn't be a thing. And Mario Maker is a really cool game if you ever played it. It's about making different Mario levels, which this isn't, you can't make your own Mario levels, but painting with it. And there's a bunch of different like settings for painting, stuff like that. And this is like one of the first times people were actually introduced into digital art, because this is that time when the computers were really like old and stuff. So when people got this, it was like really cool. Like, oh, I can paint, and like customable stuff was like really hard back then in software. Trying like to customize all the different directions that someone can paint something for something like that to actually work that way is really, really cool. Mario's Time Machine and Mario's Missing were educational games. Again, as I said, there's not really much to say about them. More in depth. It's about like it's easier done than said, basically. At that point, I mean, it's how do I word this right? How do I do this correctly? They're very unique, actually, for being a Mario educational game. And I know someone being out there like, okay, for someone who's collecting, like, okay, this would be nice to go into my collection, but some people might be like, I'm never playing this game. Ever. Again. Because only a few people would want to play an education game for Mario, which I fall into the tier. I fall into that list of, even though I don't like it, I'm still going to play it because I don't like it. That's the kind of person I am. It really isn't. They're nice. They're very nice games. So if we want to put this into like a tier list, which is something I like to do, I haven't told you in the first video, but every time I rate a game, I'm going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, and if I'm rating multiple games, I'm going to put them into a tier list. Okay, so best game definitely would be this. I mean, it's an all-in-one cartridge with like multiple different side-scroller games, and there's no arguing. All the facts are provided just by looking at it. It obviously gets the toppest. Second would definitely Super Mario World. Third would have to be Mario Paint, in my opinion. I'm kind of differing between Super Mario All-Stars and Mario Paint. They'll be put into third. And definitely fourth, for be last, would be the educational games. I apologize if anyone out there thinks that they should be put higher on the list. This is just my opinion. But yeah, that's kind of like that's kind of all of them. If you haven't seen something, like, you've probably seen like Super Mario World, Super Mario All-Stars from like the Switch Online, but there's like at least like 4 other different types of ones that you probably never heard of. You might have heard of Mario Paint and the other educational games, but if anyone's looking to get like a Super Nintendo Mario game, definitely get this. It might be a bit more expensive, but it definitely is worth it. So anyway, gonna be signing out, and as always, keep gaming.